Hello again. In this video I'll explain the qualities and tactics revolving around Deceivers, one of the 5 hack types of the game. So a Deceiver, color is purple. Deceivers are basically the aggressive, behind enemy lines kind of character. They tend to have low health scores and high speed scores. So deceivers actually convince the system, the security system of the node, that they belong to the opposing team. And this works for them in a limited way. As you can see, I don't see deceivers in the enemy team as mine or so forth. But it allows them to pass their communications behind enemy lines. For instance, I'm gonna use this turn to block the gate here, and as you can see, despite the gate being blocked, mask is still active. I can command it, I can move it. That is because while king is here, my communications can pass through it because the static system, the dumb system of the game, not really, that's of course the story, sees mask as a green player and lets these communications pass. If I use a map, communications map, you can see that king and slicer don't block communications at all, and the only thing that does block communications is huntsman, which is a hunter, and that is what hunters actually do. They block comms better than other hacks, but that's for another video. Another interesting thing about deceivers is that a deceiver main can allow for some interesting tactics. For instance, all of my team is now at the opponent's side of the board. However, even should I block their path with king, you can see the blue team is still active because the main is a deceiver and their main can still receive comms. It enables the entire team to stay at the other side of the board without worry of being closed off, even though, for instance, wizard can be separated. An example here, you see just by closing off this section, wizard is inactive because even though agent and mask are deceivers and they receive comms through enemy units, wizard is not. And you can see, oh sorry, it's not their turn. Yes, wizard is not. As you can see, wizard sees them blocking the path as usual. Now the second thing about deceivers is that deceivers also seem like member of the opposite team to inactive hacks. So for instance, wizard is now inactive, and when I pass my turn, wizard is gonna try and attack one of the green players. However, he will look at slicer here, which is also a deceiver, and he won't be able to tell that slicer is green. He'll actually see slicer as blue. So even if no other green player was near here, he wouldn't have attacked slicer in his inactive state. As opposed to that, if mask was in here on the other side, even if he wasn't inactive, yeah, but wizard would have seen mask as being on the green team while he is inactive and might have attacked his own team member. So it's a double-edged sword, and it also stems from the same principle, but in practice, as you can see, there are 2 completely different functions of the deceiver class. Well, while deceivers can be very useful as mains because they are very comfortable, their ability to just completely ignore most common com blocking elements, there is a problem here. One, as I'm about to demonstrate, a hunter can still block their comms, and a hunter standing in the gate simply takes away all the advantages of deceivers. Another disadvantage is that deceivers, as I said, usually have low hit points. compare it to 460, for example, for a manipulator or a hunter, and 380 is less. Seeing as our goal is to keep our main safe, a main that is a deceiver is vulnerable to being destroyed. So the tactic with the deceiver main is usually to just quickly neutralize the opponent, prevent them from attacking. Their ability to instantly get from their side to the opponents and attack is usually used exactly for these kind of actions. Or deceivers are used to get behind enemy lines, behind the gate guarded, for instance, by an opponent tech, and attack the ranged attackers or their main from behind. And that is what deceivers are pretty good for. Deceiving subroutines are mostly damage dealing, like rack, which is a straightforward damage dealing attack. As you can see, the deceiver edge for this attack is a 10% chance to deal even more damage, which is a common deceiver edge. And they have like symmetry attacks that cause afflictions on the enemy, curses and whatnot. These are and movement. So these are common deceiver subroutines.